Plug in live and live in color.
Live and living color plugin.
Yeah, so we here today with got a couple special guests actually. We got a couple in the building. Flow TV, dope director, dope actor, dope producer too. I feel like them three right there, I can say just knowing you for a short time. But today we're here to make sure that we get everything out there that he got to bring to the world. So let's introduce my man Flow TV right here.
Hey, what's
Welcome
going
to the
on? What up? What up?
gas
What up? Hey,
station,
thank
baby.
you. Happy to be here, plugged in with Darren,
Yep, yep.
man, and Kyle, the immaculate artist that I had just discovered today. This is a beautiful setting right here. As soon as I walked in, I was amazed by everything that you've collected. The way that you set everything up. I'm just so excited to be here. I love being around other creatives.
We appreciate you here, yeah, man. Like, cause you also say that you like a screenwriter too, because you do direct.
Yeah, now this film that we're doing, it was originally written by my man Kerry Hudson. I just took the script and adjusted it, added to it, and we all communicated with each other to make it what it is right now before filming. We're very confident in what we put together. When we put all our minds together to be able to create the product. So I'm just excited to film it because that's really my expertise.
Now, do you want to get into that right now, or do you want to talk about like, I like when we do interviews, I like to start from the beginning.
Okay, so
Like,
let's run it back. Let's start
and
from the
then
beginning.
and try to get to the the present stuff. So where was you born?
I was born in Puerto Rico,
Born in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
What year? You mind saying?
1991.
1991. Okay. So the first location you came to was Renton, PA.
Nah, so we actually went to Virginia first.
Virginia.
My uncle lived over there. My uncle was actually addicted to drugs. My mom was living in that environment, with me as a baby. My brother was a little bit older. He was like 10 or 11 years old. I don't really remember any of this, but I know my mom was telling me that my uncle was always running back and forth to the pawn shop, pawning the TV, pawning the microwave and all of that. And then at the first of the month, when they would get their check, they would get everything back. And that's the environment that I was growing up in. And then we ended up moving to Reading, PA, maybe like a few years later, and we ended up moving with my grandma.
Okay. So you would say Renton, PA is your home now?
Yeah, that's where I lived most of my life, most of my childhood. That's my home, the dot.
Okay.
What was the allure from Virginia? Like, how did they even know about Reading, PA? From Virginia, do you know?
Yeah, I just know that my grandma lived in Reading, PA.
Okay.
And she was living there for a little while with my uncle, with a different uncle. And, my mom was kind of tired of living with, the uncle that she was staying with at that time. So she was like, let's get out of here. Let's go live with, my mom, and we ended up staying with my grandma to kind of like escape that. We didn't even know what we was getting ourselves into going to the dot.
So growing up, what inspires you to get into the art, like the art that you're in? Like who was who was somebody that you looked up to and was like, I think I can do that.
It's a good question. I would say my sister's dad.
Sister's dad.
That's really who I like grew up with as a child. My sister's dad. I didn't really grow up with my father, but he played the piano, and then he kind of taught me how to play the piano. I started playing like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and all that kind of stuff. He was playing like John Legend songs, Piano Man and all that kind of stuff, like old vibes. He used to play the piano and sing at the same time, and he was so good at it. And I was always like, man, I want to be just like that. So I would play the piano. I learned how to do that. I learned how to sing. That was really like my first experience, being artistic, is playing the piano and singing. It was really music that started my journey into the arts.
So that's your first love, music.
For sure. And I still like to write music. I still find myself, being artistic in that area still to this day. I just don't express it as much just because, I found a better career in, videography.
When did videography, like, what was the first thing when you was a young boy that made you be like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do?
I would say working with Candelaria. He was actually the first person that put me into a recording studio. And what he did was he had a camera and he was like, here, hold this, get these angles, record me, get this footage. And he was the first person that really put a camera in my hand, and I was like, okay, I'm doing all of this. And he edited everything himself, and I would see what he would put together, and I wouldn't say that it was like super high quality stuff because I didn't know what I was doing, but I would see that people would watch it. And at that time, this was, I don't even know, maybe like 2010, something like that. People wasn't really creating content at that time like they are now.
It wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal. So
who was your initial audience when you first started creating content?
I was creating it for him, so it was really like his audience, and I was still making music, so sometimes we would like get people to hold the camera for us, and I would like be in his music videos rapping and stuff like that. But I didn't really have an audience at all. Nobody knew who I was. I was a nobody at that time.
Do you remember your first like video you did, or the first one that you really wanted to do or like push?
Yeah, it was one where I was wearing like with the Saw mask, and we was in the studio, and it was really dark. We had some like flashlights, going all over the place. It looked so corny, looking back on it. But I remember that I had bars in that song that I did. So so I was like, that was my first music video ever.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube still to this
Tell
day.
people where it's at so they can find it.
Man, Candelaria and J Go Flow. I don't remember what the song was called, but we only have like 2 videos that you can find with those names on.
You put the link down there, let them find it.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll put it in the
That was
comments.
2010.
Yeah, that was somewhere around then. Yeah.
What would you say, like, as far as with like TV stars, actors, maybe like a musician? Like, who would you say early on who you was like looking at? Like, I know you had said John Legend, but what other like influences as far as like actors and musicians?
Gotta be,
rappers?
Alicia Keys gotta be in there, right?
I mean, yeah, Alicia Keys was definitely, a crush.
Yeah.
She was also an influence musically because her music was fire, but she was definitely like a crush too.
Her
At the
name
same
Alicia
time.
Keys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, she was playing the piano. I used to watch all that. Yeah, for sure. Definitely a big influence. I had a very different taste in music. I actually really liked Linkin Park growing up.
Linkin Park was dope. Shout out to Linkin Park.
Yeah, shout out to
So
Linkin
how'd you feel when the Linkin Park Jay-Z album came out? You like that? Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of because I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. My mom, like once we came out of my grandma's house, she put us into the Wilson School District, and we were living around mostly white people. I actually was one of the only minorities that was living in that area and going to that school at that time. So I was hanging around a lot of white kids. So that's how I even came across Linkin Park and all that type of music. So when Jay-Z did the collab album with them, that was one of like my first exposures to like rap music, besides going to like my cousin's house in the city, and they would listen to everything, and they would talk about Lil Wayne when he dropped like Go DJ and Fireman and all that kind of stuff, when Lil Wayne really started to get popping. And that's like when I kind of started to learn more about rap music. But before then, it was like, rock and roll, oldies. My mom used to listen to oldies 98.1. So that was like all the music that I used to listen to.
What kind of was R&B or was it?
It wasn't even R&B. It was like oldies music.
Old
It was,
Spanish music.
not even old Spanish music. Because what my mom did was she would listen to like, the Beatles, that type of oldies music. And that's how she would learn English, because she came from Puerto Rico. So she was trying to learn the language. And she actually forgot to teach me Spanish in the process. So my Spanish ain't even that good. But oldies was definitely like the vibe I grew up on.
Did you like the Temptations or the Isley Brothers? You heard of them?
I heard of them. I don't really know if they were played on that station, as much. It was mostly like white.
Rock, you said rock,
it was mostly like white people oldies
Yeah.
music that was played on the oldies 98.1 at the time.
Well, they said the Roots was inspired by I think black artists. They came here and heard their music, and black artists helped them first, and then after that, white mainstream picked them up. But white mainstream ain't want them at first. I never heard that until recent years.
Yeah, I was kind of learning that too, watching the Michael movie recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you learn?
Have you watched the Michael movie yet?
Watch it now.
Man, it was good. Because Michael Jackson was trying to get on MTV. And MTV didn't want to let Michael Jackson on because he was a black artist.
Yeah. Early 80s, right?
Yeah, so Michael Jackson actually kind of like broke the barriers for other black artists to get on MTV. That's what they was talking about on the Michael movie. So it's probably the same kind of thing.
Situation. Yeah. Everybody inspired by somebody. Because even like Elvis, like he used to get fined for doing this. They said it was a sexual assault or something. Like when he shaked his leg.
Yeah.
So he had performed at the Super Bowl or somewhere, and he did that. And they said, if you do it, we're going to get you off stage. And he did it, and they jumped on stage and they pulled him off the stage and they locked him up.
Yeah.
And then look, they canceled him, right? They canceled him after that, and none of the white people was messing with him. So he came back, started messing with black people. Black people got him popping again, and then he left them and went right back to him. Like, and then he said, "I can't let y'all come with me now." Like, it's crazy how the industry do you though.
For sure. They try to suppress you. And then it's always somebody that got to break down the walls for other people to be able to get through.
I feel like this is the best time right now to get on with anything because I feel like you could be anything and look like whatever, and it just as long as the quality of it is good, people see past it. I think before years ago, you had to put on an image that everything is perfect. I got a perfect body. I got this. I got that. You got all shapes and sizes of artists doing everything. I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, because it's an audience for everybody. As corny as the music, I think it is. I ain't gonna say today, but the majority of it, like, it ain't for me though, and I'm cool with that. Like it ain't for me, but I ain't looking at the downplay it either though. But it just ain't something I want to hear because I can play something for you. You be like, and it just ain't for you either. You be trying to get into it like you know what I mean? And I ain't gonna feel the same way you feel about something I like. So it was all what you like.
Definitely, absolutely. And it reminds me, this is, I don't know if we introduced you yet, but this is my wife, Anjeri, she's also a content creator. But, a lot of people have been asking us recently, like, hey, I've been trying to do this, trying to do that. A phrase that she commonly says is like analysis paralysis. Sometimes people be overthinking now and it stops them from actually even getting anything done. But right now we're living in that age where anything is possible. It really don't matter who you are, what color you are, where your background is, how much money you got, what kind of cameras you got. As long as you just try to get started and you will focus on progression and not perfection, like that's how you end up going places.
Yeah, what's gonna go viral is gonna be people just really being themselves, like their true, authentic, raw selves. Like that's the next phase of social media. It's not gonna be the curated, like this is the perfect shot with the perfect body and the perfect content creator. No, it's gonna be flaws and all, and what you really look like, and pimple patches, and everybody's just gonna let it all hang out. You know what I mean?
Bonnets.
Exactly. Like bonnets are gonna be out. You know what I mean? It's just real. Just people want to see real, raw stuff. That's why streaming is so popular now because people are literally in real time in front of the camera.
But then sometimes a lot of people might create a character on camera and be somebody else. Like then that's something that people deal with too. I can see people falling or getting depressed from that. Just imagine all day you this bubbly character, and then you go outside, you really not this person, and then somebody come at you the wrong way and you take it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of hard to deal with too. Is you got to. I don't know if you should be the same on and off. You don't want people to know you're real you anyway, but you don't want to be an asshole in real life when you leave the camera either.
Yeah.
But you gotta know what comes with it once you on camera. Like
for sure.
No, I'm gonna be an asshole on camera and off camera. Like see what you get for real.
You roll with it.
So let's get into your content creation. Like what's like pointing you in that direction?
So for a long time, like I really did not even want to be on social media. Like I was because I was a makeup artist. I had to promote my business, but I really did not want anything to do with social media. I'm a hermit. Like I wish I could be a hermit. I wish I could be an island. I tell him all the time I don't want to be out there. But he was really like, come on, like you're a personality. You're so funny. You have so much wisdom. All these things. Go ahead. You got to put it out there. I'm a writer first and foremost. So I started a blog called Luna Confessions, where I was just kind of writing about my personal life and my discoveries. And then from that, he's like, okay, if you're going to build, then you need to get on social media. You got to like show your face and be a personality. So I decided like, okay, let me try stand-up comedy. And I started that a year ago. So now I want the world to see me, who I really am, not just like read me, in my writing, but to see my personality. And I feel like I'm very relatable. I try to be as real as possible. And he's really inspired me a lot to just get out of bed and just freaking create content. Like I'm the one that came up with analysis paralysis because that's me. Like that's what happens to me. I'm a procrastinator. I self-sabotage. So it's like, damn, I want to do all these things, but then I don't because then I'm overthinking, right? I want to be Miss Perfect and portray that everything is perfect. But in reality, you're just better off putting that content out. And someone's going to be like, yo, I see you and I see myself. I want people to see themselves when they see me in some way, shape, or form.
It's funny because I seen y'all's video today, the one you was on your peer.
Yeah.
So I was laughing about that. That was funny. That was funny. But yeah, like this, this being genuine, on camera, and I think people will pick up on that and they'll like you because of that, whatever. Like with me, I'm not an open book. You gotta get to know me for me to want to talk to you. Like some people want to come in the room and demand your attention. I feel like like people ignore the person that they think ain't got nothing going on, and then they come to find out he got everything going on. So I remember walking to a room blinded like that. You don't know what my situation is, and see the way you treat me. You know what I'm saying? Because that determine how we gonna do business too. Because if I come in there and you treat me like everybody else, then I'm with you. But if I come in there and you like, I don't think he got nothing going on, I'm gonna walk past it. I'm gonna treat you like that too then. So I think it's all about the vibe sometimes you get with people.
Definitely. They talk about that, like, even when you're a CEO, you should be able to treat all your peers and the janitor the same exact way, and that says a lot about your character.
Exactly. You really do. But the sad part is though, when you start meeting people like even people that you look up to, and you get disappointed because you like, damn,
Yeah.
he ain't really like that though. And it's just like you gotta understand they're human too. And just because they like that, I mean, you gotta be like that. I got friends that tell me like, listen, I got treated like shit so many times, whatever. That I feel like I gotta do it to somebody else. So it's kind of like you want to throw it on someone else because somebody threw it on you. And I never want to do that. Whatever. If I got some knowledge or if I can got some information I can give you, I want to give it to you. A lot of people want to hold it in because they don't want to see you go further than them. My thing is like if I got on and I was successful, I want to bring people with me.
Right.
You good at this, you good at that. I'm gonna put you over here, put you over here. We all can build this ship. And that way I ain't gotta go find random people instead of doing people that I know. You know what I'm saying? But people ever take a chance on people that don't know them, people that they hear with, whatever. And it's hard to get support from people that you know. That's why like I feel like now the biggest thing is like don't even look for it. Like if it comes, it's cool, but I think the strangers is the ones that's gonna fill your vision more than your family and
Oh,
friends.
yeah.
Definitely. I'm not a big reader, but she's a big reader. And one of the biggest things that really changed my life, changed my perspective, changed how I communicate with people is when she gave me the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And they talk about smiling, they talk about
So they got how to win friends and what?
how to win friends and influence
Yeah.
people.
I like
It's an
that.
old book. It was made in like
That's decent.
the 70s. We're in sales, so if you want to be in sales, that's why it was geared for, but you can just apply it to any area of your life, you know what I mean? Especially if you are trying to reach the masses and influence people and make friends.
Yeah, they was talking about these CEOs and they was start these companies, and they would want to remember everybody's name, and they would like take notes on like what the name was, and then how they would like get people on their side is they would like send them a personal letter, in the mail, be like, hey, I really appreciate you for your hospitality, all this stuff, and they would say their name a whole bunch of times, and then like every single time they see him, even if it was like years later, they would somehow just remember like a way to remember that person's name, and they would just be able to bring it up in the conversation. So now she knows anytime we go anywhere, whether it's the server, anybody that I talk to, anybody that I come across, anybody that I'm shaking hands with, the first thing I want to know is like, what is your name? Like I want to know who you are, so that way I can make sure that They said in the book that nobody likes the sound of anything more than hearing your name.
People are
Kyle,
so self-centered.
Aaron, for sure.
and that's crazy, right? Because I peeped that when we came in here because a lot of people when they meet me, they just know me as the picture boy or live and live in color. Like that's my brand, whatever. And a lot of people don't really know my real name either. So a lot of times, like shit, if I was to call somebody on the phone, like, yo, what's up, this car? They like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, the picture boy.
Oh yeah.
And it's bad.
You say you
And,
get the
it, and,
pictures.
and it's bad to be known for that. So that's one thing you do got to do. Like let your name be known where you at, whatever. Like that's definitely important. Or even a nickname or something you got going on or something like that, whatever. Like what you want to be called. You mean like that's definitely important.
Yeah, how are you going to be remembered?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. And I think that's something that if you don't learn, I mean, you don't know it. Just like I went to high school in Philadelphia, and like it was to the point where people were so embarrassed to read out loud. The teacher said, "Whoever don't read out loud, I'm failing you." People walked out of the class. They were so embarrassed to read out loud that they just walked out the classroom.
Crazy.
And you mean like, and like trying to read out, everybody get quiet. You mess up on a word, they laughing and shit. So it was like, people like, fuck, I'm gonna F anyway, and just left. So it was like, even if I got to stutter my way out, I'm gonna try and get out of there, and whatever. Like, so it was like, those important things that I think as kids in Philadelphia, we definitely didn't get until you get out in the real world. You gotta explain yourself to somebody, or you trying to sell something to somebody, and if you can't be nonchalant. It's on your personality and your way of delivering it. And somebody can say some bullshit the way they sell it to you though. So if you sell something good, sometimes it sells itself, but sometimes it don't though. You really gotta press it. Like, look, now this is what it is. I'm not that aggressive where I'm trying to shove it down your throat, whatever, but I'm definitely gonna make it known what it is though. You know what I'm saying? Like
I kind of want to use what he said as a segue. Like he can say, you can say, we can all go down the line and everybody say, what makes you guys want to be in front of the camera, be an open book, be able to put your story out there, be able to make the content and not curl up and be like, one day just wake up like, what, I can't do this. I'm on the camera all the time. I mean, like, what make, and he's probably the one, how should I say it? Maybe more vulnerable. I don't know, but people tell me, I'm not gonna say a lot of people. I'm talking about like a couple people. Like, I don't know how you do that. I'm not gonna say this like a crazy amount of people. I'm saying just like even if it's just one person, right? I don't know how you do that. I could never do that. But like trying to give me flowers, in the same sentence. So it's like I just want to hear like what keeps you motivated, like
So
keeps you
so
going.
so so for me, whatever, I think because I did music, I wrote music, I recorded music. You mean I think I started with that. I used to write screenplays and stuff like that. Then I did in the cooking. I cook. I catered for 15 years. I sold alcoholic popsicles. We doing podcasts now.
What alcohol like?
Like I mean
I
like
was gonna ask because like I'm gonna tell like a couple of them.
you know what I'm saying? Like we do I did custom collages. And then I got 2 kids. And like this year I turned 40. So I feel like, the only thing that my thing was I always had a team of people that did stuff for me. Like it's like my cousin Shaw to do mine, he passed away. And he's somebody that had money to go do all the stuff and he had the voice for it. And because he ain't going, I feel like he threw his voice to me, like, come on, cuz you gotta do it. And I turned 40 this year. That shit crazy. It just sound crazy saying it. So
You're 40?
yeah.
I would have never guessed. He
Yes,
was
I'm saying.
going for 40.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you. So it's like it just sounds crazy because even when somebody asks you like you 40, it's like, oh shit, damn, I'm 40. And then like like looking at me like these grades keep coming back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel like now it's like all or nothing. So that's what gives me the confidence. Just like that's what it is. Because even my kids, I show them stuff all the time. They don't seem to be impressed. I think till they see it at a high level. Like if my kids come in the basement, if they come down here,
That's how kids are.
it's like walking into like down the street. They don't even it's like it ain't nothing wrong. So it's just like
go to McDonald's. Huh?
Yeah, so if I can impress them, that's my inspiration. It's like, damn, for them to come, like, damn, Dad, you did something.
Yeah.
Like, cause I ain't doing shit right now.
Because they're a tough crowd.
Yeah, they a tough crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was at a barbecue with Max Simi the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, my son, he don't think anything I do is cool." but low key, but he was like, "Yeah, low key he do." You know what I'm saying, but like when he with me, he tried to shrug it off. Like,
and then they show you some stuff there, right? They think it's cool. You like, that's cool though,
right?
No.
Like, don't you love it? Like my daughter, she wants this Lululemon jacket, and it's like $130. It's like a one piece. And it looks so stupid, whatever.
Yeah.
It's tight as hell, whatever. She like, my friend got one. She a size 2. And I'm like, is this the whole leg? And she was like, no, it's just the bottom. The bottom is 8. And it's 80, whatever. And then mind you, it's hot as shit. What you gonna wear there? And then next summer come around, you ain't gonna wear it anyway. You wanna wear it to wear it in front of your friend. And then after that, I mean, that's it. And then you trying to give it to somebody.
Yeah, they scamming that.
Right. I paid $200 for you to wear it for like 20 days.
Yeah, they scammers.
You better wear it every day while it fit.
I don't care if it's 100
I was gonna get a Lululemon. I was trying to look for more T-Mobile. Lululemon. You mean?
The Sprite.
Walmart's gonna come out with a collection pretty soon. Lululemon, don't you worry about it.
Nah, but not because there'll be competition. Like, yo, that's the Walmart brand. They can't do that. They ain't gonna do that. That's like when I was a kid. Like my dad taught me into getting some sketches instead of Timbs. I came to school, they killed me. I came to school, they're like, it's the S. Like, they killed me.
But now they're cool.
They not.
In my world,
oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
You get away with wearing them now.
Yeah.
I mean, for little kids, little kids is cute. Yeah.
I've seen grown men wearing sketches.
You wear sketches?
No, but like Maxi got them, I think.
Yeah, he probably get paid to wear them.
Yeah, he get paid to
Men
wear
that
them.
wear them have like an 800 like credit score.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, no, the sketches you gotta be a certain demographic.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I got 850. I don't wear them joints. 850 for real shit though, but. Nah, I mean, it's each his own though, but ain't nobody I know wearing no sketches though. But I had some and I thought they was all right. This is when they first came out though. Like, so they was like on the TV. It's the S. like, did y'all have the model papers? Y'all can see the sneakers in them. Like, that's how we had them. Like, so my dad was like, I'm not paying $150 for some boots. So I'm like, damn. He said, I guess it's the S then.
It's the S.
For $60, it's the S.
Is the S or is the no?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when I was a young boy, my mom always used to give me the FUBU.
Yeah,
the FUBU and the Fat Farm.
Fat Farm was popping back then.
It was popping up because it was like the first black designer. So that, I mean, it was decent. I had a FUBU. I had a FUBU Scully and it had headphones in it. And you could plug the CD player in it. I mean, so headphones came out.
Shout out to Boofu.
Boof. Fuck you.
Nah, but what's your take on like what keeps you motivated? What keeps you, you know what I mean? In this business, it's like I feel like it's a dime a dozen. Like everybody's on it, but then there's a lot of people that's not on it. So what keeps you on it like that?
Well, I'm just coming back. I took a 3-year break.
Right.
Yeah, I was doing videos for over 10 years. And when I first started, like I said, I was an artist. And what I did to kind of turn it into a business is I seen that there was a need for a lot of artists in my area to be able to get on stage and get their shit off. You feel me? So I was going to like a lot of competition showcases, not in my city, but I would go to DC, I would go to New York, I would go to Jersey, and I'll go to all these showcases. I seen that like they was giving away, slots to open up for like Young Jeezy and Jada Kiss and all this shit. So I would like get with all the people that was running the events, and I'd be like, "Yo, how do y'all get these slots?" And it was, "Oh, you pay $300 and then you open up." So we charge $50, $100 or whatever the case is for people to come perform, and then we give a slot to the winner. And that's how we make monies. Because people want that opportunity. So I'm like, okay, bet. And in my area, they wasn't doing that. So I was like, I learned the formula. I would reach out to them to find out, okay, yo, who can I get these slots from? And then I ended up doing the same thing in my city. I ended up having my own showcases, and then I would have all the artists sign up, $100 a piece to be able to get an opportunity to open up for a major artist in another city. And it was going. I would have 15 people sign up. You know what I'm saying? So boom, $1,500. I paid $300 for the slot. I paid $200 for the DJ. The event space was free because I went to all the event spaces. They was trying to charge me. They was trying to charge me. This one was like, yo, just bring people in here, and then we split it at the door. So I was like, bet. So that's how I ended up making money off of like my artistry at first, and then like whatever profit I got, I'll just take another $300 and get my own slot. So it'll be me and then the winning artist. I'll be going to perform in front of like these artists or whatever. So that was like my little situation. And then what I did is I ended up getting my own camera, and then I would take everybody's pictures. And at that time, everybody was like tagging each other like crazy on Facebook. Like when anytime shit was going down. So anybody that was there that had a picture, I'll post like 100 pictures in a post, and then I'll tag everybody that was in there. So everybody would always go to my posts and like look for their picture or whatever the case is.
Okay.
So that's how my Facebook got super popping, having my events. Right. And then my events started to get super popular. Everybody was going to these showcases, even if they wasn't an artist or nothing. Like the doors would be crazy, like right. Super packed. So that was like how I first kind of started. And then I started shooting my own music videos. And then everybody was hitting me up like, yo, who's shooting your videos? Who's shooting your videos? And my shit wasn't even that great at the time. I started shooting videos for my homies for free. Then I'd be like, well, give me $50, give me $100, you know what I'm saying? And then that's how I kind of started getting my video name out. And I ended up linking with some other people that had me traveling and going to do music videos for other artists in different states. Then I started to do art. I started to get really good at shooting videos. Started shooting with celebrities. Started going to LA. Started going to Atlanta. Started going to Miami. New York City. Shooting with big names, and that's how I really turned myself from Jago Flow as a music artist to Flow Television. And then for years, I was always behind the camera. I didn't even put myself out there anymore. And then it came to a point where that was like my identity. I was like, I don't even want to be on the camera no more. I'm a videographer now. I'm a filmer, and like 3 years ago, I ended up experiencing something traumatic at a video shoot, it actually right here in Philly. And after that experience, I was like, okay, I gotta step back. I was hanging around a lot of toxic people, a lot of violence, a lot of drug dealers, like just a lot of negative energy. And I told her, I was like, yo, we gotta, because we were together at the time. I was like, yo, we gotta get away. We gotta go somewhere.
Do you think a lot of that stuff was inspiration for some of the videos and stuff too? Like just the like the company you was around and stuff like that? Do you think that was part of the reason why you was around them? Not saying not around them for that, but it's just like that kind of helped with the stories or the videos. You know what I'm trying to say, like as far as like what you did with the videos.
I really don't think that I gave too much of my input. I think I was always focused on creating somebody else's image and somebody else's idea, somebody else's creativity, and trying to like, I was just the one kind of like creating it, but I was always like, okay, what do you want? How do you feel about this? What do you want this to look like? I never really got to like put that much input into the project. Sometimes they would ask my ideas or whatever the case is, but it would be like, I would think this for like, okay, you got this chain on, you got this hat on, let's put you over here. This is what the song is about. Let's put you in this setting. So it was never really like about me and what I wanted to do and like my type of creativity. So
what was the first time that you ever did something 100% you felt like by yourself? Like, like
you was proud about it.
Yeah, like an idea you had, you was like, you know what? I think everything I wanted to be in here is in here.
It was never like that. I feel like this is about to be the first project where I have the most input.
The dot
I'm about to work on. Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
Well, yeah, so after that experience, I took 3 years off, and now me coming back, it was actually, Carrie Hudson, Always M, and 610 Problem. They reached out to me. They was like, hey, we got this script, that we working on. And it was about my city, you know, it was about the dot. And I checked it out and I was like, you know, this is pretty good. But I filmed a movie before with, you know, a bunch of people in Pittsburgh. We had Fatboy SSC in there, we had Justina Valentine, we had Shiggy, we had Bill Collector, we had a bunch of people in that movie. But it didn't really go the way that I wanted to because we didn't have it organized. We didn't really have the script completely done. You know, people were paying their way into the movie rather than like actually having the talent to be able to act in the film. So I didn't want to do that again. I wanted to do this one completely differently. So I was like, look, I'll do it with y'all, but you know, we got to set the groundwork first. So first, we made sure that we finished the script completely. We organized everything, all the scenes, all the locations, all the characters, you know, the character descriptions. We wanted to make sure that we got everything right first for this film. And you know, after everything was done, I was like, okay, now before we even have auditions, which didn't even happen yet. Auditions didn't even happen yet. You know, we just had the movie conference yesterday, but we were just focused on marketing. And I really didn't know that the marketing that we did was gonna explode the way that it did. But you know, in these past 3 years that I took off, I was really studying the new age of content creation. You know, like for example, like Drewski. You know, Drewski's somebody that I watch a lot. You know, and how he puts his skits and stuff together. You know, and I was like learning how he did it. I was, you know, watching, you know, like the Diary of a CEO. I was watching, you know, all these different content creators. I was like seeing like, okay, what makes things go viral? What makes people pay attention? What makes people intrigued? And at the same time, these past 3 years, I've been working for a sales and marketing company. So it really taught me the science of like how to get people impulsively to make a decision on something, how to get people to buy into something, how to get people to, you know, really believe in something. So, you know, with all of that expertise that I got from working for the sales company and also like me taking my time to like just watch content and study it, this was my first opportunity to kind of put it into practice. But I knew that I wasn't able to just film it. I actually had to put myself out there.
Right.
So
I want to real quick give you a clap, you know what I mean, and toast because for you coming back, right? Because I feel like it has to be a certain type of person mentally, right? Like every people quit all the time, people give up all the time, but to hear you say that and speak your truth, that's what I want to clap. You know what I mean? I want to definitely applaud that. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure that you know for me, like I really appreciate you bringing that and plugging that in because you didn't have to. You know what I mean? You could have kept that out of the conversation. So for you to be able to speak on it, that's dope, bro. That's big. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people can't. Like I said, people quit all the time. Like I used to be a rapper. Like that's long gone. You know what I mean? Like long gone. So like I think that's just one little stupid example of how we give up and just don't never even like go back and like try to actually correct and boom with it though. Like you should be able to if that's your dream, go do it.
you know, but what's interesting about that is, you know, there's this little phrase that, you know, Jim Carrey said it and Jay-Z said it.
Okay.
They said, if you're not willing to take a whole year off and just be with yourself and discover who you are and what it is that you want to do, you're never actually going to discover yourself. You know, so like I took 10 years, you know, being a videographer, and I thought that's who I was. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And this, like, I had a certain vision. But, you know, I didn't just take 1 year off. Like I said, I took 3 years off. You know, so now coming back to this place.
That was 4 actually.
Yeah, so now coming back, it's yeah,
It was
you
a
know,
while, like
for sure, you know, and I didn't
more
even
claps, more claps.
it was
Like
a while.
definitely.
it's
I just feel like I have so much of a better understanding of who I am. I have such a better understanding of like, you know, where the world is at, where media is at, you know, just because I really took time to just sit back, be away from everybody and just be able to think for myself without all of these influences in my ear and in my head. I just got a chance to like just really understand what it is that I wanted to do. That's why I say that this is actually the first project that I'm working on where I have so much control over what's about to happen, you know, and how I'm going to create it without everybody else putting their input. You know, like when I did this conference yesterday, I'd let everybody know, I put it on a screen that they're going to, you know, they have to sign a waiver saying that like, look, whatever happens with this film, y'all have no say. If you get a part or whatever the case is, and you don't like how something looks, it is what it is, you know, like this is our creativity, this is our project, you know, if you want to be a part of it, just understand that like you have no say, you know, you just got to do your best to be able to play your part, you know. But
I'm getting in.
come on, I mean, let's get it, you know.
Now, is there room for improv?
Yeah, a little bit, you know, and
Let's say if you had something written right, not saying that it was perfect, but let's say if sometime whatever, like even with a song, like you might have an idea for a song in the middle of a song, like you know what, this sounds a little better than what my initial idea was, and you mean and this might kind of sound better. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely, you
Like,
know,
I mean, if the
I don't,
improv
I
sounds
don't,
better than the script, then
absolutely.
go for it.
I
you
don't
know?
think that we're perfect. I don't think that, like, you
yeah,
know, obviously, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a reader and I'm not a writer. You know, like my expertise and my experience is in holding the cameras and editing.
yeah,
You know, like even with, you know, with sound, like I just had a meeting right before I came here with the sound guy.
Yeah.
You know, because I know that I'm gonna need help. You know, tomorrow morning I'm meeting with another sound guy because if I have two of them, that's better than one. I need as many hands on deck as this is possible. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I don't know everything. So if anybody has suggestions, if anybody has any type of improv, but as far as like the storyline, you like it can't change it.
yeah,
You
nothing
know
like
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah,
So like as
nothing
far as
like that.
it's got to at least stay within like the storyline and it's got to make sense.
I wanted to get your wife's because she said you've been motivating her. So I wanted to get her to add to that, to what basically like what's keeping you driven. But first, before I forget, I wanted to add on to what he said about basically going along with you taking time off, and you said 4 years, and so I wanted to real quick add to that. It's funny that you guys are making me bring the story out because I don't want to just keep bringing the story out, but if it's something like that and it just like turns something on in my head to make me want to, bring this back to the camera. So my mom's passed in 2022. This is why I do this. 2023, like you said, take a year off. 2024, again, take a year off. 2025, the end of 2024, me and my aunt, she kept calling me, kept having these conversations about her personal life. And then one day, it was like near the end of the year, it was like close to like Christmas, New Year's, around that time. And something just said to me, podcast. So I said, Auntie, you want to do this podcast with me? And she said, yeah, let's do it. So that's how I kind of got into content, like actually like being serious about it. So we would do a live every Monday night at 7, and that's how this whole thing. But like you said, you got to take some time. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I did say, and I said this last week. I said at my mom's funeral, I said I'm gonna do something to honor my mom. I just don't know what it is. That was 2022. So like I said, 23, 24, and then I didn't start until 25. So you put that time together, it's a lot of time in between. So but yeah, I just wanted to make sure I added that in there because it reminded me from what you said. Like I had vision, like I always had vision. I just didn't know where I was gonna get the inspiration to do what I'm doing now. And plug in so you guys know it's Patricia's legacy, unity and growth, inspiration, navigation. So it's like it aligned with my mom's legacy and like her passing. It just it did something to me. I said I gotta do something. Ain't no way I could just live without her, and that's it.
So plug-in is Patricia's legacy, unity and growth, inspiration and navigation.
Yeah, it's really supposed to be Patricia's legacy of unity and growth, but I've been like kind of cutting the of out. But yeah, Patricia's legacy of unity and growth, inspiration for navigation. It's a lot, but I try to like slim it as much as I can. But
That's beautiful.
yeah, it's
That's
like
fire.
it's just something that I had to do to keep me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Keep you going.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is the first time I heard this too myself.
Oh, that's beautiful.
good,
That's
yeah.
what
I
we
didn't.
really-
No,
Capping.
no, I wrote.
People
I
together.
maybe you said it so fast. I didn't catch it. I'm looking like that's what it means.
Nah,
Oh
he
shit!
capping.
Nah,
He
I
capping.
really.
He heard it like 10 times. He
I
capping.
did, but he
I'm
said.
the same way though.
Now
I'm
look,
like,
he
babe, I
said
know
so
that.
fast. I be like, all right. Like he said so quick. I don't know what he's saying. So
Yeah.
I be like, all right.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I'm
But the
like,
way he
babe,
broke it down just now, I'm sitting here like, oh shit, that's what he meant. All right.
Yeah, because it's like you don't know. Like during your 3 years, you didn't really know what was what, right? You know like your mind though. Like all right, something's coming. I'm gonna take these couple year however long, but something's coming. That's what I was probably riding off of. Like when she left, I'm like, all right. It's like that part in the movie that's like it starts getting like almost like a cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Like, all right, it got to be a part 2 to this movie. Like, if you could add on to him motivating you, but like, what's your self motivation too, though? Like, what makes you go like, all right, I'm getting 5 videos done today. Like, what makes you get that inspiration?
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't get 5 videos done a day. Not yet. So
I
I
do
gotta
do
be
that.
honest. Like, I'm just gonna be very honest. Like, because I'm not about to like brag about something that I do that I don't do. You know what I mean? That's not me. But my daughter is my biggest motivation. I have a 12-year-old, and she's amazing. Shout out to Selena Victoria. She's the whole reason I'm honestly still here, because I've been through some really dark shit. But I also have always envisioned a big life for myself. Like, I always envisioned that I'm here for a reason, that I have a
Facts.
purpose. You know, I've been kind of close to death a couple times. So that's weird. And then after that, when you overcome being close to death, you realize, like, oh shit, like, hold on a second. The plot twist, the
Facts.
second part of the story is not over yet.
Facts.
So I've always felt like I'm an immigrant. I'm a first generation immigrant. My parents brought me from Honduras when I was 4 years old. That alone has been a motivating factor, because I know damn well that my parents didn't go through all this hardship for me to just be mediocre. You know what I mean? Like, my parents didn't like give up so much and sacrifice so much for me to just kind of like fly by like a plastic bag blowing through the wind. Shout out Katy Perry for saying that. You know, so yeah, definitely knowing that I have a purpose, knowing that my story could really help people, and knowing that I have helped people, because people do come up to me and be like, wow, like, I relate to you. Thank you for your vulnerability. I always think, like, if not me, then who?
Right.
You know what I mean? There's only one me. That is my power. I tell them that all the time. Like, people may copy what we try to do, but they're not going to be us.
Right.
Who you are is your power. And so I really am trying to dive into who I am, and may I attract the right people that can resonate with my story. You know, being an immigrant, being somebody that I was born in a third world country. My mom said, like, there was times where you were crying nonstop because we hadn't fed you like all day. Like, we just didn't have the money. And so to me, I'm like, no, I was meant for more. I want to give my daughter more, because I know what it's like to have literally nothing.
Right.
You know, and so from this, I want to make something out of my life, but also inspire people to make something out of their lives, because I believe the pie is big enough for all of us, you know, but it starts with one. It starts with one person. Like, you know, I grew up religious, so I'm gonna add Moses. You know, Moses led the people out of Egypt, and if he didn't have that vision to be like, yo, come with me, I might show you the way. I feel like I'm that person. I'm like, yo, I think I found a path. You want to come with me, because I think I know the way. And so I really want to inspire. That's what drives me to get up and be like, put yourself out there. Put yourself out there, because there's nobody like me.
Do you believe, with all that being said, and that was so dope, do you believe that everybody has almost something like a superpower in a sense?
No, I don't believe that.
And it don't have to be a superpower,
Yeah.
like, but I'm saying, like, everybody has something that they can shine, but they just have to, like, unlock it in a sense.
Everybody got untapped potential. They
Yeah,
just got
yeah.
unlocked.
Right? Because I feel like there's something, and like, I want you to really
Yeah.
go on this.
Yeah.
I feel like there's people out here, and like, I'm a big people person, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like there's people out here that got something.
Mhm.
Whether it could be modeling. I just told my aunt that my one cousin could be a model, and like, there's a guy. Like, I was like why would I just make that up? Like, I don't look at guys like that, right? So, like, there's people that can really be doing something though.
Yeah.
But that was it. I just wanted to, like, because I think there's people that don't know or don't
Yeah.
realize, like, I'm not supposed to be smoking crack.
Yeah.
It's not my claim to fame. Like, this is not what God got me here for.
I'll be honest with you, like, I'm a really kind of like weird, deep spiritual person. So I think it's, yes, everybody like could bring something to the table, but I think some of us bring something way more than others. Like, I think some of us are really called to like change the world and be big, like do something, leave a legacy, show the world a different way. I think, yes, I think most of us have untapped potential,
right?
Whether you see it or you don't, whether you nurture it or you don't. But I just think that some of us, a small group, believe it or not, are called for something greater, are called for something bigger. And I have always felt that in my heart. I feel it in his heart. You know, I feel it in most of the people that we attract. Because you're always going to attract like vampires and shit like that. You know what I mean? That's a given. But I do believe that some of us just got it. Some of us just got it, and thank God that we do. And that's okay, right? Because you have to have the star, and then you also have to have the audience. The audience doesn't exist without the star, and the star doesn't exist without the audience. So some of us are stars and some of us are in the audience, and that's okay.
But some of us are stars in different types of ways too, because something that like I'll always remember. Somebody was talking about like there's somewhere right that has a factory that they collect every single type of potato that you could find all around the world. So that way, if there's anything that ever happens, like an apocalyptic kind of situation, like these people have preserved all these different types of potatoes in this building, right?
So they can make it again.
And we need these people that are like so into these fucking potatoes.
That's crazy.
And it's like there's something like that for everything, like when it comes to like sewage, like there's somebody that is so like I watched this episode of Diary of a CEO where this guy is so into poop. You know what I'm saying? Because like inside of your poop you can find so much information, because that's what's coming out of your body, and it'll tell you like everything about your health, right?
Right.
We need somebody that is like super into like the sewage system. We need somebody that's super into electricity for us to find out how to get all these lights all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So it's like not everybody's gonna be a star on the level like where you're gonna see them on TV and you're gonna listen to their music or you're gonna want to hear what they say or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? But like I'm so grateful for all of these people that are behind the scenes that are so into what they're into. And when you're talking about releasing somebody's untapped potential, it can be in so many different types of areas where we might not give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But it's important though at the same time.
But they're a star in that.
A star in their own right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a star in their own right.
The main thing is you gotta care enough to make an effort to do it. Because a lot of times, people will tell you stuff they want to do and they just don't do it. You know? So I think your actions, show louder than your words. Some people just be talking just because it sounds good. Like I feel like with me, I don't make announcements. You just gonna see it pop up, or you gonna hear me talking about it. Like I cooked for 15 years. I never wanted a restaurant because I know that's a lot of work. It is. And then I feel like to get somebody to want to leave their situation to come help you, you gotta be giving them something worth it to do it. So I feel like every time you start a restaurant off, you gotta get people that's pretty much down their luck because that's all they can do. But that's the type of that's the type of workers you're gonna get. They might call out, you getting the type of shit you paying for. So you can't even hire nobody that's gonna be that great. So, but if you love it that much to take that chance, and that's on you. If you don't, then don't do it. Like but it's worth a try. If that's what you want to do. But I think everybody got untapped potential. Just got to unlock it. Like or somebody can help you unlock it. Sometimes somebody can motivate you because a lot of times too. Somebody might not see nobody doing nothing, just like with y'all, like like in Renton, it might not be nobody there doing what y'all doing. So you might be inspiring people. Oh shit, damn, I can actually do music and get it recorded and get it sent out somewhere. There's a potential that he can take it somewhere and get it heard. They can hear our story over here. Nobody really know about what we do over here and stuff like that. So it's good, to have somebody like that, to inspire the community, to make people want to come out and do stuff. Because you might inspire a young director that comes around, keep checking you out, and he grew up to be something, and then he came from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is decent how we all can help each other and getting better. Yeah.
I met people, all kinds of people, right? But I seen somebody asked me about a movie. I feel like it was 2 years ago. But the first time I meet you, you like, yo, I'm doing a movie, and I could just tell the difference. So let's talk about the doc. Let's talk about the movie that you got.
Well, you didn't talk about you yet. Like how like oh well you kinda did. You talked about all right, you did. You know what I'm saying?
I will. I mean, if you got something you want me to no, I will.
Yeah.
If you got something, I'll
you talked about like, what actually made you want to take this journey. So that's because I know that you was going around, so you went around already.
No, I cut it. I cut in because what you was saying, it was like, inspiration. So I was like, I gotta put mine in there now.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure that I highlight y'all because, for example, like, the Diary of a CEO, I was watching Stephen Bartlett, which is like the host of that podcast.
Okay.
And he talks about how when people go on his show, he has a team of like photographers and like, all this kind of stuff. And then when they're done with the podcast, they give them this book. Mm-hmm. And then in the book is like pictures of them like during the podcast and then like little lines that they said and they'll like write it in there. Give them this book and sometimes they make the people cry. So like the photo that you holding right now, I just want to shout out Kyle real quick because as soon as I walked in here, y'all made me feel so special because, this got all the photos of like, me with a bunch of celebrities, me with different times of like my career, me with my wife, my heart right here. And, this really separates y'all from other podcasts that y'all go on because as soon as you walk in, number one, the environment, and number two, we can feel y'all energy. And number three, you know how to make people feel special. So, You know, like
That shit.
You made us feel welcome.
Tell them how we took that picture yesterday. And it's
yeah, so you know that this was fresh because one of these photos was from yesterday. You know what I'm saying, you see my guys right here. I only met you yesterday.
Right.
I only met you not that long ago. So it's like, man, the fact that y'all just cooked this up so fast, you know what I mean, is like number one, talented, and number two, it just means that y'all really dedicated to what y'all doing, and you really want to make sure that the people come in here, they feel like a superstar, they feel special. And I'm just so grateful, you know, to that y'all did that for me, because that's beautiful.
Shout out to y'all with the marriage, because it's like God brings y'all together, right? For a reason, like how you said about the other thing. And it's like for me and him, it's like, how did we come together? I was just scrolling on Instagram one day. I think I was supposed to be at the casino or something, and something told me not to go. So I'm scrolling. No, at the Valley Forge Casino.
Oh, okay.
Out King of Prussia. So, I was supposed to. They wanted me to go there, and I was like, nah, I don't need to go there today. So I'm just scrolling on Instagram, and I start seeing his work, and the picture thing. I've been into pictures like from probably around pandemic time. I was like, I got to get pictures and just put them on shirts, and just something drew me to his artwork, and then we just started collabing, and then he told me, when you bring a guest, we can give them a collage, and that's something that will make us unique.
I'm gonna put it up in the apartment. So
like initially, like if the play, I mean, when the platform get bigger, I would like to have have a gas. I call it the gas station, and if the guests come cook for them, I make some alcoholic slushies, have a picture for them, make like a little party vibe down here, have like a different type of vibe for a podcast. Because I feel like like I don't know, I feel like the person you is coming to you should be celebrated more or less. Like because I always wanted to do up and coming people, and people are kind of like me, people that was overlooked or whatever and stuff like this, just to get their story out there. Like, I think it's dope because it's coming from people in the same way, same people watching it, the same people that's going through it.
I think I found the reason that I needed to find, because you can't question God. That's what they say. So I just run with this stuff. But when you said about the 3 years, I feel like that's what I needed to hear, because for the audience, like, people love to quit. Like, people love to just be like, I'm just gonna lay here. I'm just gonna stay home today and just eat and shit.
And you can, it's okay to have those moments. Like, you can't always be go, go, go. Like, we live in a hustle culture, and I tell them all the time, like, look, faster isn't always better. You know what I mean? And sometimes you do gotta slow down. It's like the Taurus and the hare. Okay? Like, who won in that? The Taurus, right?
The slow guy.
Exactly. And that's okay to slow down and take those breaks and listen to your body. But get the fuck up. Like, eventually you do have to, like, get up and get moving, get working. Like, go ahead, take action, right?
Yeah.
And
know that, though. Like, know that, like this ain't it. You know what I mean? Like, he would tell you he was in a rap group and a record label. Like, he'll tell you all about it. But it's like, how did he get here? Like how did you know what I mean? Like,
I look at life like the Broad Street Run, right? My uncle, he turned 60. He turned 69. He said, "Hey, Neff, if you're gonna do it this year, like it's my last year, I'm doing it. Like, what's up?" So I'm hoping. I see this about rain. I'm like, yes, it's raining.
You gotta wait out.
They about to cancel this shit. So I called him. I called my father. Hey, yo, it's raining, man. I get rain. He like, hey, Neff, it don't matter. Rain, sleep, or snow. I'm like, damn. So I'm like, so that morning and shit, I make sure I eat nothing crazy because I ain't want to have to go to the bathroom on that long ass run. So the run is pretty much, I don't know if y'all know where Broad 90 at, but it's from Broad 90 to the Eagle Stadium. You mean, like, that's as far as shit. So I started off fast as shit. They start getting tight. I'm like, yo, what's going on? He said, hey, man, you gotta pace this. You know what I mean? And I feel like everybody race. I mean, everybody like run ain't the same. Like, you pace yourself, you get there. Everybody got different ways to get to the finish line. And I feel like when you rush it, whatever, sometimes it don't work like that. Whatever. Sometimes you fall. Like, I think everybody got their own timing, and I think it will go from there. Like, so I compare that to the Grove Street runs. Everybody just getting there, just getting at their goal line different ways, whatever. Like, that shit was hard. Like,
no, thanks.
I did. It was 10 miles. Like, that shit crazy. That shit was. So I did it in 2 hours and 13 minutes. And that was the first time I ever did it.
Shout out to the Broad Street Run.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. Shout out to the Broad Street Run. It was 2 years ago. My legs is tight. And then it started pouring down raining for like a half an hour. So look like I wanted to call somebody, right? To get me. My phone didn't recognize my fingers because my fingers was wrinkled. So I'm like, phone. I mean, everything was. I couldn't do nothing. At least I couldn't call nobody, so I had to do it. That shit was crazy. But what was decent was this little kids holding signs up saying "Keep going."
Aww.
Yeah, like little buttons. It press the power button. You pressing it, they give you little shots of juice. I mean, water or whatever. And then I ain't gonna lie, like when I was running, I was the way black person my age out there, like, cause I was like 35 at the time.
Okay.
So like nobody was out there. Every time I see somebody back, they say, yeah, I know that's right. I know that's right. I rode past North Philly. They like, I know that's right. It was all white women out there, all old white women.
I love that for you.
Like 50 years old.
I'm sure they loved you.
Like that shit was crazy.
Thank you.
So I think life is just like, like it ain't a race. Everybody got to know where to get there. It's a marathon. It's a marathon. Everybody knows where to get there.
Yeah. I tell them that all the time because I'm like, babe, we're on our own path. And sometimes being married and when you're together for so long, it's almost like eventually you do become your own entity. Like the two of you is like all we and us and you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, yo, I am me and you are you. And that's okay. Like we're going to have different opposing views. We're going to have different perspectives. We're going to have, everybody has an opinion, just like an asshole, So it's like, it's okay to be on your own path. You know what I mean? We don't necessarily we're not always going to walk together. We're not always going to be together, but we're still moving on our own path.
Y'all know what it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, what keeps y'all going though? Because I know same thing like I said with people giving up, same thing like with a marriage. Like what keeps y'all locked?
Our sex life is pretty good.
Okay. That's the cowboy hat.
You know what I mean?
I know why the cowboy hat. Is that a sex thing and shit? Like this Diddy tape just came out.
I did want to ask you about the hats though.
Yeah, I bought him the hat. We were in Texas for a while, and he found a hat.
Shout out to Texas. I got my San Antonio hat over there.
Yeah, she did. She gave me this hat. But it was something really interesting just because I was in Oklahoma for work, and I was there for a little while, and this is when I had like really big spiritual awakenings.
After a mushroom trip,
yeah, after a mushroom trip, for sure.
After a mushroom
Tell
trip.
them how you got the spiritual awakening. You know what I mean?
It might have just been drugs talking.
No, it was the mushrooms. Come on.
No, but definitely, I took some mushrooms, and I took like the most I ever took. I took like 9 grams of mushrooms, and I was lit, but
he's like, babe, he calls me on FaceTime. He's like, babe, I'm feeling my feelings. He's like, I just love life.
I had the chocolate bar. That was the best. I had the chocolate bar. I ate the mushroom. They made me kind of sick though.
Yeah.
Chocolates had people turning into like lizards or something.
Yeah, watch out.
Sure, you gotta be careful. You know what I'm saying? You definitely gotta make sure that you're in the right environment. You know what I mean?
The right mindset. Yeah.
You didn't drive after that, did you?
No, I was walking. I already knew that. I knew that like I was in an environment where it's like, okay, I've been taking a walk every single day on this street. Mm-hmm. It's such a nice street. I've been walking past this lake. There's always ducks over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that I was like, okay, boom, I'm gonna take these mushrooms, I'm gonna get super lit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take the walk that I've been taking every day, I'm gonna go chill at the lake and I'm gonna just sit down for a little bit. So and then when I was there, I'm in Oklahoma, right?
He's like, so I'm doing this too?
Yeah, I was by myself. So for sure, hell yeah.
Trippy boy.
Yeah.
When I first was, taking I was lit, I started having all these negative thoughts, like, about my aunt, going to the hospital and having all these back problems, about my mom being by herself and being single, for so long. I started thinking about, like, everybody going through pain, right? And I was starting to think, like, damn, I think I made a mistake, taking all these mushrooms, right?
Be like that.
Yeah,
that's the first phase. The first phase, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. But then I talked to myself and I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'm supposed to feel this. I'm supposed to feel people's pain. Mm-hmm. These are emotions. It's good. I'm fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, this is normal, right? So then I talked myself out of it. And then once I got to, like, the next neighborhood, I was good. I was looking at the trees. I was looking at people's decorations. And I was like, okay, this shit is beautiful. Then I got to the lake and I seen all the ducks. And I was like, what's up, duck? And I'm saying, you chilling? I'm saying he was getting close. I felt like the ducks was acting mad different. Like, I felt
they want to be his friends.
Yeah, I was like, they was coming to me. And I was like, all right, cool. But this is what really fucked me up is because...
No, he loves animals. Oh my god! Anytime there's an animal, it doesn't matter if it's a armadillo or like a raccoon or whatever, squirrel. He's gonna go and Dr. Doolittle on it.
Definitely, for sure.
He is.
I have a I got a hard drive where I take all like the footage from my phone and I
So
dump it on
many.
there, and I have like little files. So I got like a file just for like all the animal videos that I got.
I'm telling
So
you,
many
like
so much
Crocodile
shit.
Dundee ain't got none on him.
I be doing voiceovers in the videos, of, like what the animals thinking and shit. So it's hilarious. Yeah, real shit.
The other night he posted a video of some skunk outside of his hotel room.
Yeah.
He was like, hell no, like I gotta go all around because this skunk right here.
Yeah, threatening me and shit. I mean, so but really, like what this the awakening was when I went to the lake. I seen all these little white boys come with their fishing rods on bicycles. Right, it started with one. He was like 10 years old, 12 years old, something like that. Then another one came. He was like 14. Another one like 15. Another one like 12-year-old. And then it started with one white, and then it ended up being like 7, 8 kids, all little white boys around this lake fishing. And then I'm thinking, like, I already told y'all, like, about, like, the environment that I was when I was younger with my family members, the examples that I had growing up, like, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, I didn't grow up nothing like this. Like, their parents was pulling up on golf carts to go check on them, and then they would go back home or whatever. And I was like, this is so different than the way that I grew up. I wasn't in this type of environment. I didn't grow up around these type of kids. I didn't have these type of parents. Wasn't in this type of neighborhood. And I started to give myself grace, for like who I was and like how I grew up and like, the man that I became, because at the end of the day, you grow up in whatever environment you grow up in, but whoever you become and whoever you choose to be when you become an adult, that's your choice. You start to like, adapt to whatever it is that you doubt. You got to like forgive yourself for it, forgive whoever you were around, and you got to like, make life whatever it is you want it to be. And that was like a really big awakening that I had because I always like, some people be blaming their whole life on shit that happened to them. And, people that was in their life and it's like, oh, it's because of them. It's because of this. It's because of that, whatever. And
that's not it.
That's not it.
Thank you. I love that.
You can make your life whatever it is that you want it to be, but you just gotta like forgive yourself. You gotta forgive people. You gotta forgive your situations, your circumstances, and switch shit up.
So you can't blame your parents, your sister.
I mean, you can at first, but then you should like move on.
But that burns out though, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Because I did. I blame my parents for a long time. I mean, I still do from time to time.
She does.
But at a certain point, you kind of gotta like, it's a cutoff.
Oh yeah, I give them grace too, because I look at them, I'm like, damn, they were doing the best that they thought they could do with what they knew and what they had at the time.
They ain't leave you on the side of the river and just
and they could have. But
I mean, the thing is, people gonna do what they want, and then say the other stuff is what made them do it. Like, Kenan, I'm sorry, like if something happened when you was 15 and you 35, it shouldn't still affect you as a grown person, especially if you got kids, because your kids should overlook all that, whatever. Like, so you just being selfish, you just don't care to do it. You know what I mean? Like, so like I can't sit for somebody to keep doing the same shit over and over and over. And it's kind of like, like a magician was jumping the crowd and put his hands up, he just like gonna catch him. That's how I fuck up, dude. They like, I'm fucking up. Somebody gonna catch it. Like,
that's a good one.
so if nobody around, it's like you gotta change your shit up now. Like you can't keep doing it now. Like anybody running hold you no more. Like so you gotta figure it out. Like so.
Yeah. It takes self-awareness though. Like first and foremost, if you don't have the self-awareness of saying to yourself, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Where do I fall in line? Like, what's my responsibility in all of this? Where can I take accountability? A lot of people don't want to do that. So if you can't take self-awareness and accountability, there's really nowhere to go from there. Because I feel like that's the first step, self-awareness and then accountability. And then it's like, okay, what am I going to do now that's different?
But just to circle back, because it started with the hat. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Because from after that experience in Oklahoma, I was about to go see her and her daughter in Texas. It was for like a big trip. And then the day before I went, I was packing up my car, taking everything out there in the morning. And I look underneath my car and there's a cowboy hat. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was a nice ass cowboy hat. I was like, man, this shit fire. So I still had some stuff to get from my car. I still had a little bit of time. It was like 9 o'clock. I was going to leave at 11. I was like, I'm going to put this shit right back. You know what I'm saying? And if it's still here when I come back, it's mine.
It's mine. Fine, just keep it.
So I came out and that shit was still there. I took it, put it in my car, I dipped. know what I mean? And I looked it up. It was a Stetson cowboy hat, and I looked up the hat. It was like $160.
Yeah.
Expensive joint, yeah.
Yeah, it was a
they're
nice joint.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, so as I was traveling, it got bent up a little bit. I still got it at the crib.
Yeah, he still has it.
But I wore it that whole trip. A matter of fact, it was 4th of July. And we went to this beautiful place. It's called the Oasis in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And we had one of the most miraculous evenings that
He was also on mushrooms that night.
Also, only a little bit that time.
Tell people the truth.
And another really good conversation that I had that night, because at the Oasis, this is a beautiful setting. They have gates around they have fireworks all over the mountain.
The locks.
4th of July. That's what I was about to say. They have a gate full of locks, and you can purchase the little heart locks, at their little gift shop or whatever. Me, her, and her daughter bought one, and then we put it on there. But me and her daughter were talking because around it is all $8 million mansions all around this lake that it looks so
gorgeous. Lake Travis.
Lake Travis, right? And we look on the lake, and there's people on jet skis and all that kind of stuff, little tubies and all that kind of stuff, going all over the lake. So I look at this, and I'm like, and I'm talking to her daughter, I'm like, yo, let me ask you a question, right? I was like, you see the kids over there on the tubes and all that? I want you to imagine a little girl that lives in one of these big mansions that's down there right now on the tubes having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? And she was like, I think it would be really cool, to live in one of those houses and be down there having a good time. And I was like, okay, cool. I thank you for answering truthfully. But did I ask you that questions telling you that was you or just a little girl? And she was like, no, you didn't say that it was me. I was like, yeah, you put yourself in that position right away first, right? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, that's what we do. We see people in a nice car. We see people in a nice house. We see people living good. But we don't really think about what the people actually had to do to get in those situations. We don't actually think about the people that are doing that and what kind of life that they live. You know what I'm saying? And what they're going through or whatever the case is. So it's we see it and we want it. We want to be that person. We want to be in that situation. But those people worked hard as hell to be there for the most part. Some people are born into it.
But then, but then even with that though, I mean, you got people. I think it's harder to keep it because
you got to keep it.
Sure. You got to keep it because you all these people with handouts. Yeah. My thing is, I ain't gonna lie. When somebody not cut me off, but if I start messing with somebody that it's like less of a person I gotta bring with me.
I like it too.
I like it too. And then I feel like in life though, you might. In life, you might start with a certain team, and then you elevate, you change, you lose them, you come back for them, or whatever. It always changes to the weather though. So I don't think the people you come in here with the beginning is the people you gonna end with either.
And most people come for a season.
Yeah.
People come for a season. But me and Jorge, to go back to your question of what keeps us together? Right?
Yeah, we keep y'all locked in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely the love that we have for each other. That's first and foremost. We started out as friends for a while. Yeah, I really didn't want to fall in love again. He's my second husband, fun fact. And so I just didn't want to go through all that again. The divorce and everything. It took a toll on me. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. But I could use a friend. Could you just be a friend? And he was. We were friends for a while. And I think the foundation of how we started was through friendship and honesty and vulnerability. And I told him hey, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I show up like this. I struggle with this. I just want to let you know. You know what I mean?
I didn't know how bad it was at the time.
How long did it take you to get past it though?
Man, it took a couple years.
Okay.
Couple years.
He's still.
And it's we're really. It was just the learning process. Of what those things are.
Did he ever slap you and then you was like?
No, we never. It never really got to that point,
that was a joke.
But it was a lot of
I want to.
It was a lot of
I come close.
But I know that there are a lot of people that deal with those illnesses, if you want to call them that, or whatever, that actually disorders that actually do that. You know what I mean? That they will result to violence or whatever the case is. Ours was a lot more verbal. You know what I mean? Calling, not even calling each other's names, but how we talk to each other and all of that. And me, I had to learn how to control my anger and how I responded to shit. Because when we first got together, I remember one time I punched the dresser and fucking put a little hole in that shit. You know,
our neighbors
because
hated us.
yeah, because we was always like,
We're
raising our
always
voices.
fighting.
Because like I would just be like, man, how could you be so disrespectful and that, and then I would just boom right away, like I'll go up. You know what I'm saying? But like just being with her for a long period of time, I was able to just give her grace. Able to understand her. I would learn how to like number one, like okay, she can say whatever she wants, but how I respond is a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
It's what you're in control of.
Yeah, I'm only in control of myself. I can't control her. And then I realized like once I stopped responding, everything was on her.
That pissed me off. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, once I stopped responding to the shit, now then she was able to wake up and be like, okay, I'm like, doing
It's
this, I'm saying this, and I'm not even saying that everything was her fault either. You know what I mean? Like obviously I have like my downfalls too. Like I have my faults as well. You know what I mean? But like it was just I was able to understand myself better. She was able to understand herself better, and we were able to really communicate on a totally different level and understand each other on a totally different level. Where I feel like a lot of people, don't get to that point.
Right.
You know what I
They
mean?
give up.
They give up.
A lot of people give up.
What about a baby in the family?
Probably not. She has a daughter already. She's 12 years old. So she doesn't want to do it again. We got a Chihuahua.
Barely fucking take care of that.
And now
He went to go live with grandma.
yeah,
like,
he's now the
typical.
Chihuahua's in Puerto Rico, man, just because like our life is all over the place. I'm always traveling. We always traveling. Like for real, we all over the place. So it's like having that Chihuahua made me realize that I'm not that material.
And I'm not mom material of more than one kid. I just again with my diagnosis and my mental state, how it can be sometimes.
Right.
It's a lot for me, like, to have a child and then again a husband, dealing just with my own stuff. So I always told him from the beginning, I was very honest. I was like, look, I almost died in my first pregnancy. I had to have an emergency C-section. I almost died. My daughter almost died. It was really, really traumatic. And I told myself, I'll never do it again. So when I got with him, I was like, if it's a deal breaker for you that you have to have kids, I'm not the one for you.
And honestly, I'm glad that she stood on that shit. Cause
and that's dope that you can be that husband. Like that's dope. Cause some like me, I would have probably been like, nah, we just want just one. Like we got.
I was like that for a minute.
Yeah, he was.
I was like
and we almost broke up.
And look, if the Chihuahua would have went great,
he'd be right here.
Listen, I would have sucked. I would have snuck it in. No pun intended. I would have literally snuck it in. Like, oh,
yeah.
we just had one son.
But that's how the daughter. That's how the shit is. Sometimes what ends up being people's downfall is like when they sneak it in or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like what if y'all not both on the same page.
What does about sneaking in?
Sneaking a baby. That's what I thought y'all was saying. I sneak some sperm in there.
That's what I thought it was. Y'all was so nonchalant about it. I'm like, hold up.
Yeah, nah, but yeah. So if it's like if y'all not on the same page, man, then like don't be trying to just do what you want to do. You feel me? Because like that's
even if the sex is fire.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. A lot of people stay in toxic relationships because the sex is fire. Because they're just filled with lust. I know for me
bring up the big up sex.
Yeah, it's like some people are just so fucking like horny all the time. So like, oh my god, I'm digmatized or I'm a pussymatized. You know what I mean? Like I can't be without you. And it's like, yo, chill the fuck out. The last thing you need to do is bring a child into the mix. Like, you know what I mean? Right now in the child support system, in this system right now in America, there are over 150,000 kids.
In America?
Yes, in America, there's over 150,000
China don't play that.
In the system. Like, that means these kids don't have parents. We're talking about over 150,000 kids. I was like, listen, let's just be real about who we are as people. We like to move. We like to be a little selfish. We like to have our time. I already put 12 years into raising a human, and she's doing great. Why do we need to start over again? I think people have kids for the wrong reason. A lot of women want to trap a man. Okay, if I have his kid, then he's never going to let me go. Boo boo, he's going to let you go. You know what I mean? And then it's a bad cycle. So I was like, why don't we just be together because we want to be together? Not because we have a kid together, not because we own property or, we did get married and all that. But it's like, but at the end of the day, we really are choosing to be together because we just want to.
That's dope. Let's give a shout out for that. Like, I mean, I want to get your while we still have time. I want to get your comedians like the maybe like five that influence you that want to do the comedy thing.
So definitely all the females, right? Because to me, there's so many male comedians that I can shout out. You know, like Adam Sandler for sure. But then the females have really brought to my attention, like, oh, I can be funny too. Chelsea's Handler, she's hilarious. She's so fucking unhinged. I feel like I relate to her good.
I kind of got that.
Yeah.
She was just on the was she just on the
on the roast? Yeah, she's now the roast queen.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, she just says the most unhinged stuff because men can say it, so it's like, why can't we? You know. And then Angela Johnson, I actually met her in person with my daughter. Mexican American, Latina, one of the original on YouTube. She went viral for her like Cryptolale, you know what I mean? Like, and another comedian, Cristela, hilarious, another like Latina comedian that I really look up to. Of course, again, Maya Rudolph. Like a lot of the women that were on SNL, like I used to always aspire, like, damn, like my dream job would be to be on SNL. Definitely. Like I would love to just do skits, be hilarious, make people laugh. That's what brings me so much joy is a room full of laughter. People laughing at me, people laughing with me. I don't give a fuck. Just laugh.
Wilding out.
I would be on it. I don't give a fuck. I'll be on Wild Out too.
So if you got to call right now, if you got to call Friday from Wilding Out and you got to call Saturday from Saturday night, which one you going with?
I can't do both.
You can't do both. You got to pick one.
Probably Saturday night. Just because I was watching that since I was like 13. You know what I mean? And I think I'm a really good actress.
Right.
Better than sometimes I can be in improv. Even though he always says like, no, you're good in the moment. You know what I mean? Because stand up is hard, and I'm still figuring it out. If I really am a stand up comedian, or if I'm just like just a personality comedian, I'm still kind of figuring out. So, but yeah, I just think again, there's not a lot of Latina comedians out there that are just saying the most unhinged shit. Like I really do say a lot of unhinged shit.